We are recording. We are recording episode 216 of the Voluntary Viewing Progress podcast. From the top, hello everyone. Welcome to episode 216 of the Voluntary Viewing podcast, recorded on March 5th, 2023. On the podcast today, we have a man who we just had a conversation about his vision, so we're not going to talk about that. Instead, to give us a rundown of the Madison, Wisconsin housing market, Andrew Clark.
Oh, yes. Much more uplifting conversation. The Madison housing market is probably like the housing markets of a couple different cities out there.
Yeah.
Bad. It's hard to find a place. All the houses are expensive. The houses that aren't expensive are like legitimate, like, you know, gut it and flip it kind of houses. Taxes are really high. Houses are off the market in like a matter of days, and like dozens of people will put offers in. So yeah, that's how it be.
Oh.
And then, but on the bright side, in order to drive to that house, you do have to drive through a war zone of construction.
Right.
Isn't it still cold? Didn't Wisconsin just survive a blizzard that would make this not the time of the year for construction to be possible?
It's not warm. Today was about 45 degrees.
Huh.
But yeah, you know, we're still in winter storm territory. It can happen.
It could happen to you. You could live in an on the whole pretty okay city, but late stage capitalism has led to a housing and infrastructure crisis that we are not equipped to address. Where do you want to live, Andrew? Dox yourself.
I want to live on the fucking moon.
The moon?
Hell
yeah, like I want to go to space, and I'm being legitimate. Like, if anyone other than Elon Musk like started a program where they're like, we are going to build a moon base, you can live there, you just have to work to build a moon base, I'd do it. Like, I would. I'm serious. Yeah. And barring centuries of advancement in human history or in human technology happening in the next 5 years, the Antarctica Research Station.
Oh.
We talked about that like a really long time ago on the podcast, about how it would be fun to do that for like a 3-month shift.
Right. You got to do it once, right?
Yeah. Everyone's got to do it at least once.
Yeah.
Do you guys think in a blind taste test you could distinguish moon dirt from earth dirt?
Moon dirt is not dirt.
Yeah.
It's like silicate.
Yeah. It is very powdery. So
Okay.
I imagine.
All right.
I mean, it's not even
100%
made
on
out of the same thing. Earth dirt is just organic matter and sand. Moon dirt is silicone ground to a powder.
Okay, what about like a rock? What about like a moon rock versus an earth rock?
That I could not tell.
Okay.
Yeah, probably not.
Blind?
All
What does
right.
blind mean? Like literally no sight? Because then yeah, definitely can't tell.
Okay. Yeah.
Like I'd
No
be going
sight.
off of like look. And be like, yeah, that looks moony. But the only moon rocks that I've ever seen are all black. So it's like, oh, that's plausible that could be on Earth too. It's not like a white rock, you know? I'm guessing it's because they like suck. Like they give the sucky rocks over there.
Oh.
Oh, like the black ones that are boring and not very moony. I don't know.
You mean like those people that got Abe killed?
Yeah.
They...
I thought you were gonna say like those people that fucked on the moon rocks and ruined them. That was a thing too.
Wait, what?
Oh yeah, you guys didn't hear about that? There was like a
No.
NASA employee, I don't remember when, a long time ago, who like, yeah, took his girlfriend into like where they keep the moon rocks and had sex on the moon rocks.
That's
Why
awesome.
would that ruin them?
Just like ruined a whole contamination. I don't know. Like they're coming from another body. I don't think you're supposed to have sex on them.
Says who?
Having sex on moon rocks. Thad Roberts. Of course, his name would be fucking Thad.
Oh, Thad.
Thad Roberts. 25-year-old intern.
Oh my God, dude.
Jesus.
What a guy.
I'm guessing he lost his internship.
Apparently.
There was also a book titled Sex on the Moon. The amazing story behind the most audacious heist in history.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, he stole the rocks. I misremembered.
Oh.
He like stole them, brought them to a hotel room where they had sex on them. And then I think he put them back, but yeah.
That's a little weird.
Yeah.
Now it's a little less cool and more just weird.
Oh,
it was already weird, but
yeah, I was gonna say I
cool.
think it's weird enough anyway.
According to Wikipedia, the book received mainly negative reviews, criticized for its purple prose and overly sympathetic discussion of the ringleader.
Nice.
Also on the podcast today, we have Ryan Holtz, who I would like to ask if he and possibly us have peaked too far beyond the LA curtain for things to be as cool as they once were. I have a specific example I would like to give to you, Ryan.
All right, do it.
So a person I'm a mutual with on Twitter. Not gonna get names. Not gonna get too far into. Not gonna get too far on the details. But essentially, they posted kind of one of those like more like FOMO generate tweets that was like, oh yeah, just did this cool South Park escape room with this influencer I'm friends with. Look at us go. And like, I live in LA. I've lived in LA enough now to know that like that's just at the Glendale Mall. She was posting about how cool it was at the Glendale Mall. And like, yeah, no, like 5 years ago I would have seen that and would have been like, wow, oh, good for them. That's a great time. But now it's like, I don't know. I'm here. I know where this is. I walked past that. I made fun of that with Ryan and Ian when we went to get fitted for our suits. Am I too far beyond the pale now? Are we, Ryan?
I don't know. Yeah, Glendale Mall's pretty lame. Like, it's a cool mall, I guess, but malls are inherently kind of stupid. And the guy who owns it tried to run for mayor, and he's like super Trumpy. So, you know.
I'm going to say this. I don't live in California. If I moved out to LA, there's probably a lot of things that I would think at first glance were like really cool that you guys are probably like totally over by now. I don't think I would ever brag about going to a South Park escape room, no, even if it wasn't in a mall, but especially if it was in a mall.
Mall would be so much worse.
Andrew, how was the mall you were at? How have they adjusted to the otaku house taking up residency?
Well, I don't think there was a single person in there.
Oh,
no. I didn't go in. I just took the picture from the threshold to send to you. Is that like a chain? Is that I've never heard of that before.
That was the first I've heard of that as well.
I mean, it was like balls to the wall anime, not like, ooh, we're a store that caters to anime fans. It was like this is the anime store. Like this could have been at fucking Disney World. Like for how hardcore it was.
It's terrifying. It's a terrifying proposition.
Okay, so they have a website. I think that might be an international chain, and now they have physical locations in the US.
Also, I don't know if you noticed from that photo, but I ended up zooming in on it later. The logo, which is like a guy, has an Among Us dude on his shoulder. What? And I don't know why. Because that's not anime, right?
I've spent a lot of time thinking about this, and I can verify no. Among Us is not anime. Huh. I think this might be an illegal store. Because like the Otaku House website logo is different than the one in the picture. Madison
The number one anime merchandise, and yeah, this is a completely different vibe.
I mean, the Among Us makes me. Are they doing this as a meme? Are they starting? Oh, wait, hold on. Okay, otakuhouse.net versus what I was on .com. .net seems to be, yeah, where you were at. I don't. Huh. This is weird. This is very weird.
Yeah, and on that like first Otaku House, like there's a store location. There's 3 of them. None of them are in America.
Also, I'm realizing based on their website, it kind of looks like I don't think they actually sell anime. I think they just sell anime merchandise. Like they don't have Blu-rays, they don't have DVDs.
Okay, yeah, this is a completely different store with the same name because they do have their own website.
I cannot imagine that is allowed.
Well, it might be like an international versus American copyright thing.
What does the about section say? Otaku House, 31 branches all over America.
Yeah, which is already different because that other place only had 3 stores.
We willing to open 50 branches this year. We're looking to expand our business. All caps.
We willing, yeah.
You can become a partner and earn money by opening shops and shopping centers all over America near to you.
Sounds legit.
That is what capitalism is. That's store ownership.
Let's do it, you guys.
They have to give the Among Us people money to use the bean, right? Like this is
maybe not. Maybe only if they find out
something going on.
Like... But why is the Among Us guy in their logo?
I don't know.
Why wouldn't he be, Andrew? Like that's a better question.
Well, no. My first question is better, Ryan. Why is he there?
We are locating everywhere.
Oh God, that's a threat.
I'm kidding.
That's a threat if I've ever heard one.
I don't know. I'm starting to get Channer vibes from this. This seems a little suspect to me.
I think this might be a store run by ChatGPT.
Oh no.
I think it's just like English is not their first language.
Possibly.
No,
that's more likely.
It's not that.
But I just think something weird's going on that they're like doing this rapid expansion, and it doesn't seem like a place that would necessarily have, that much demand.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about
mall
that.
Anime store. I do know that. How many people at the Hilldale Mall are looking for all the latest hot anime items?
Not a single one at the time that I was there because the store was empty.
These are regular folk. Maybe in a like hub area, I could see it, but
well, they do have 31 branches all across the US and are they willing to open 50 more by end year.
Yeah.
Boy, their indexing is not great on their website.
You could work for them, Lucas. You could fix their shit. And then you could take over. You could Zuckerberg them.
Fix all their problems and then take over.
Maria and I did just rewatch The Social Network this week. And I would love to talk about that in the group chat later. But also, hello, I am Lucas DeRuyter. There's some JRPG discourse going on right now. It's all just a convo I've had in my head. I don't know how many times over the course of the past 5 years. I'm not going to get into it now, but Games Press in the aughts, wildly sexist and racist. I didn't think people needed to be reminded of that. And also, no matter what kind of function a term might serve, if a marginalized group of people is like, hey, I think using this term is problematic and makes me uncomfortable, the morally correct thing to do is to stop using that term. So I'm going to try to phase JRPG out of my lexicon, and I feel like I've been referring to like specific kinds of games like that as turn-based games, more or less, over the course of the past. I don't even know how long. This podcast probably has receipts on that.
Wow. Because you're the truly enlightened, most woke of them all at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's heavy as the crown.
No, it's not. It's actually super easy.
Yeah, it's the lightest crown in the world.
Y'all just slacking. Skill issue, potentially.
Technically, the
Yeah.
phrase is heavy as the head that wears the crown. So I've been led to believe that the crown itself actually not that heavy. The head that wears it is just, I don't know.
It
filled with water.
transfigures your head
Yeah.
so that
just-
it is heavier.
You just got the water brain.
No, you put the crown on, you get a big dick. That's how it works.
Seems
Wrong
legit.
head. No.
Yeah. The Elden Ring DLC seems legit. Or at the very God damn. This is how much goodwill I have towards From Software versus Bethesda, where From Software drops a JPEG. Actually, it's a PNG file. There's a lot of data. You can zoom in hella far on this. From Software drops a JPEG for a new game, and I'm like, sold. Let's do it. Love it. You have done nothing wrong. But of course, we criticize Bethesda widely for doing shit like that. But no, I'm excited for the Elden Ring DLC, Shadow of the Erd Tree.
What's it going to be about?
I think like we're going to figure out what's up with the last Empyrean Makia finally. What's going on with that androgynous lad?
That was Mikola.
Mikola?
Yeah.
Makia.
Yeah, because that one lady that's supposedly really hard, she goes, "I am Millennia, sword of Mikola."
Mikola or
with like a Q.
Hmm.
You're talking about the one that got kidnapped by the Lord of Blood, right? He was sleeping in the Erd Tree.
Prince of Blood, but yes.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
But that guy? Yeah, that's Mikola.
Yeah, okay, Mikola then. Yeah, we're gonna
come
figure
on,
out.
man. I don't even like this game, and I know the
Wow.
Lord.
Yeah, we're gonna figure out what's up with him. I didn't think something could be up with him because Andrew, sorry about these spoilers. He doesn't seem to be doing great. He doesn't seem to be doing great when you run into him in the game.
Well, you're about to learn why he's not doing great.
Yeah, I presumably, presumably he's not doing great because the Prince of Blood might have turned himself into blood and had been all up inside him, in a way that is really rapey and uncomfortable, but also, yeah, you know what? That tracks. That tracks for this game.
You just hate it when the Prince of Blood turns himself into blood. Like,
yeah,
that's just some bullshit, man. What are you doing?
Come on, Mog. You think you're doing your god, the formless mother, proud right now? No, you're letting her down.
And also, I'm willing to go out on a limb and say, little different from rapey. Like, not saying better or worse. Little different, probably. Turning yourself into blood and infiltrating someone else's body. Not exactly the same thing.
I don't know.
It's like metaphorically rapey. It's like, I feel like
he get pleasure out of doing it, or like, why is he doing it?
So
just likes being blood, man.
the Prince of Blood is doing it. He kidnapped Mikola as like a way to make his god stronger. But then Mikola is cursed both with eternal youth, and then also for everyone to fall in love with him. And then the Prince of Blood being, just wildly mistreated throughout his life. His idea of what it means to love someone is very, very bad, and is therefore trying to, control him or become one with him by turning himself into blood and then getting all up in there.
Yeah. You know, Elden Ring.
Yeah.
Game of the year.
Absolutely.
That's Elden Ring.
And the last thing I'll say is that From Software, fantastic history of the DLC they put out being just the strongest part of every game they release. So I am phenomenally stoked for this. I cannot wait. I've beaten every major boss in Elden Ring, and I can't wait to beat the next couple major bosses. Yeah. Scumbag Dan Snyder's sale of the Washington football team has two weird caveats. One, the team cannot be sold to Jeff Bezos, one of like 24 people on the planet who can buy the Washington football team. And two, the NFL agrees not to publish the results of any misconduct allegations into Snyder following the sale.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The second one is bad. That's clearly a I'm guilty, please don't tell anyone, I'll go away, just don't hurt me. The first one, the not selling it to Jeff Bezos, is weird because most people are kind of like agreeing that that's actually just a trying to drive up the price of the team, because it sounds like Jeff Bezos is like fairly interested in buying the team, partly because he has nothing better to do.
He has too much money. You might
Exactly.
as well.
Like that's what you do when you have too much money. Like, because that's the only owning a major football team is like the only thing that can really use up that amount of money in any sort of meaningful way. Or well, not meaningful, but
But honestly, though, like most of the mega billionaire, like most of the NFL team owners aren't like mega billionaires. Like a majority of them are like most of their wealth comes from the fact that they own the football team. Like
Right.
they don't have outside interests. There's a few, especially the most recent ones who have bought teams. You know, they're like the billionaires types that, yeah, they don't have anything better to do. But a lot of them, yeah, like it's just like, you know, they fucking inherited the shit. Their great grandpa randomly took a bunch of dudes and was like, hey, there's this new sport, let's make a team. And then it went passed down and now it's worth fucking billions, and they're like, yay.
And like people have made the argument that that is maybe how it should be, that owners should be making most of their money from the teams because then they have a vested interest in the teams doing well.
Sometimes.
Yeah,
sometimes not. Sometimes they don't give a shit.
Bezos and Snyder are like enemies though, because Bezos owns WAPO, who published all the stories about how Snyder was a piece of shit. And also like that goes back into like some people are speculating that the reason they did that was because Jeff Bezos wanted to buy the team and was trying to drive the price of the team down by like smearing their name. And now Snyder is like counteracting that with like basically saying, if you want to buy the team, you're gonna have to pay way more than anyone else.
I'm sorry, are people undermining the editorial ethics of the Washington Post because they think Bezos wants to buy a football team?
Have you seen the shit the Washington Post has published?
Yeah, dude,
the Bezos bought them?
Yeah,
there is no editorial standards whatsoever.
No,
anymore.
they are the media wing of Amazon now.
Yeah, it's actually fucking insane. Like the New York Times is not great nowadays. Like with some of the editorials and shit they publish.
Oh my
but
God,
you can
dude.
put side by side the headlines of like New York Times, Chicago Tribune, LA Times, and Washington Post, and it's crazy, like kind of creepy how much different like the slant of the Washington Post is compared. Like you'd think, yeah, all these major outlets would be pretty similar, but
the information is the same. The result should be the same. Nope.
Yeah. So I don't know. I wouldn't put it past them. But also like, yeah, I don't know. Dan Snyder's a piece of shit. One of them things.
And I will say like the other wrinkle to all this is that I think the DC area, I think the Washington football team fan base, by and large, is cool with the team going to Bezos. Like,
it's just because he's not Snyder. Like,
yeah, I think they take anything but Snyder at this point.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, Bezos, if he bought us, he could
fix up the stadium.
Do whatever.
and-
yeah, which you wouldn't do. You just use taxpayer money like every
Every
NFL owner. He wouldn't
Yeah.
actually spend any of his own money.
Listen, we've all seen how cock diesel Bezos has gotten. Like, he'll bring their strength team up. He'll get that facility up to par, if anything, so he can use it.
Right. All right, guys. So step one, gear. you guys been on the newest motorcycling fucking cycle? It's great. Oh, you can't do that? Ooh. Yep, I'm out of ideas.
Relating to the, go ahead.
Jeff Bezos would invent through pharmaceutical funding a drug that could mask roid detection in drug tests.
You don't
for
even have
his
to
team.
mask. You just literally use one that they're not testing for. Like everyone knows which drugs are being tested for and just uses the other ones that they're not being tested for because like A, they're not in vogue, or B, like they're just too new that they don't have tests for them yet. And yeah, like every player in the NFL is using some sort of form of performance enhancement. Like
it's just a scene from American Psycho where they're comparing like the business cards, but it's just their gear.
Guys,
Yeah.
Like, now let's see Aaron Rodgers steroids. Like, I'm on Ayacusa and natural growth hormones that I got from Joe Rogan. Like, now how about I don't know, fucking who like DK Metcalf's steroids.
Start sweating and narrating all the
I'm on chicken hormones.
guys, you're not thinking cost effectively here. You're not thinking like an Amazon Solutions executive here. What Jeff Bezos would actually do is create a little strainer that football players would attach to the tip of their penises that would collect all the steroid particles whenever they had to pee into a cup for testing.
That's pretty good. I don't know why no one thought of that. I mean, there is discourse out there that like part of the reason that like performance enhancing drug tests should be phased out of professional sports is because it forces people to use the
off-brand
riskier stuff, but not necessarily off-brand. It could just be stuff it was formulated 6 months ago by this Russian lab. Like, we don't really know what it does, like, but it makes us strong, that's for sure. Whereas, like, the shit that Jeff Bezos is using has probably been around for decades and has been really well tested, and we basically know how to like knock out all the side effects, and like we know the long-term impact, all this stuff. Like, he's using that primo shit that is being tested for because it's very well known and prescribed by doctors and shit for treatment of certain issues. Like, I don't know.
Speaking of NFL teams, though, speaking of what goes on behind closed doors there, we have a rare peek into what players think of their employers, I guess. The NFL Players Association published a report card that essentially scores each team on different dimensions of what it's like working for them. Things like nutritional programs, facilities, travel accommodations, etc. The Minnesota Vikings got the highest combined score, and the Commanders the lowest. As Ryan pointed out before we recorded, the Packers came in at number 6, and the Cardinals were the second lowest team.
Yeah. No, people hate the fucking Cardinals. That's one of the main things that came out of this.
Yeah.
Can't stand being on the Cardinals.
I mean, it was one of those things where like even the coach of the last couple of years was like kind of like somewhat publicly over the last 2 years being like, it's okay if you guys fire me. I don't mind. You can fire me if you want to. I'll go do something else.
I'll go to Thailand.
Yeah, on a one-way trip.
Is he back?
I think he must have come back.
Or is he still there?
I find this deeply interesting, if only because with the culture of the NFL, it's weird to hear like NFL players, even through like a medium, an intermediary like this, make some pretty cogent criticisms of their teams. I don't know. Do you guys have any takeaways from this? I don't know if you have if you've had a chance to look it over at all.
Yeah, I looked it over a little bit. I mean, we talked about this also before the podcast. One of the things that did not surprise me is that the last place team in the strength training, like the strength team category, was the Ravens, which the Ravens over the last couple of years have just had like an insane amount of injuries that have also lasted longer than they should have. Tons of starters going down with season-ending injuries that then take longer to heal up than like they usually would. And then when that report came out, like a ton of Ravens players were like, yeah, the fucking strength coaches suck ass. They're the reason why we keep getting hurt and why we can't heal up. This shit needs to change. And I think that's like crazy that they just like put that out in public. I mean, good that they did, but you don't see that a lot from NFL players because they're kind of told to like, you don't talk shit about the team ever.
Yeah.
And now they're like, no, this is bad enough. We're gonna say this.
I stand corrected to a point I made before we started to recording. F- is a score here,
Yeah.
which makes me wonder what the difference between an F and an F- is. And then also I noticed that the Las Vegas Raiders pretty solid overall. I will note that you know what, they're kind of mid. They're kind of mid when it comes to training staff, and I know John Gruden's kid is still a part of that training staff. So
wait, is he still?
I
didn't
thought
leave
so.
with John Gruden?
I don't believe he left with John Gruden. So
John Gruden's son. Wait, Deuce? Is it Deuce?
Yeah, it is Deuce Gruden. It is that guy.
That's his fucking name, Deuce Gruden, unironically. It's got to be a nickname, right? No fucking shot.
It might be John Gruden II.
He didn't name his kid Deuce. I refuse.
Deuce Gruden. Oh, no, he's on the Raiders.
Yeah, it does seem like he's still there.
Yeah, he is on the Raiders.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got to be John Gruden II, right? There's no shot he named his kid Deuce.
Where's his Wikipedia page?
He might not have one. He's not big enough. Cliff Kingsbury did return from Thailand to interview for the Texans head offensive coordinator role. Didn't get it.
Ooh.
Lost out to the 49ers passing game coordinator. And now just is apparently like they're saying his girlfriend took a bunch of bikini pics on the Canary Islands. So that's where they are now.
Oh.
Okay.
So there you go.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, I can't find anything that says that his name is John Gruden II, but that is the only thing that makes sense. But also, pick a different nickname. Like, oh my God.
Where does Deuce, is that a language? Is it French? What is it?
French for two is do, and like do.
Deuce.
And then Spanish is dos. So like I wouldn't be surprised if like Latin is deuce.
Huh. I mean, the only reason I think it's John Gruden Jr. is that I know the name or nickname for like the third person to get like the whatever name be named a family name. Like they'll often go with Trey as a nickname.
Yeah.
So Deuce came from the old French word for two, which was, is it the same one? Deus? Is that French for two?
Deuce is like, no, French for two right now is like do.
Yeah, with an X.
Yeah.
So yeah, this apparently old French was Deus, which then came over here.
Okay.
When probably like the fucking Normans and shit. So then it became one of the words for two here.
Ooh. Also, one other interesting thing about the NFL Players Association report cards. Kansas City Chiefs are 29th out of 32, which is, I guess, maybe them winning the Super Bowl will work against them there. Like Clark Hunt doesn't need to invest more money in the club improving. They're doing great with what they got.
I mean, that might be part of it, is that, like, for the last 10 years, I mean, even before Patrick Mahomes came along, like, the Chiefs were good for a couple of years.
Yeah, for
like,
a couple of years.
Yeah. And then Patrick Mahomes came along and they were really good. But obviously, like, before that stretch, they were fucking awful. But yeah, being a good team usually means you don't look all that closely on the stuff you could be doing better, because they're like, we're doing good enough. We don't have to change anything. Don't fix what's not broken. But I mean, that's kind of one of the issues they had for a little bit, is that Patrick Mahomes was so good that they didn't give a shit about their defense. Because they're like, Patrick Mahomes is going to drop 50 every game. We don't need a good defense. And then they're like, well, maybe we should anyway.
Defense. We don't need defense where we're going. I do have one last question about the NFL. And forgive me if this is something I, as an adult man who enjoys football, should know. Does the draft order, outside of deals and like trades and stuff, do they only take into consideration regular season records, or is there?
Yeah. Well,
okay.
I mean,
in the top portion, yeah.
Yeah, for the teams that make the playoffs, their order is determined by how they finish.
Okay.
So,
and
like,
the regular season is tiebreakers.
The last pick in that round of the draft is the team that won the Super Bowl.
Okay.
Other than tiebreakers, because lots of teams will end up with the same record.
Right. No, okay. Answer that question perfectly. There's not a situation in which, I think it was 2 years ago, the Bears ended up in the playoffs with like a 500 record. And like, if they by some miracle had won, it would have been like, this even Stevens team is won the Super Bowl and is also now like in a way higher than they should be draft position. Okay.
Yeah. It was like they won like 8 games all season and ended up with like the 20th pick or some shit. This year, fun fact, there's only 31 picks in the first round because the Dolphins lost their pick.
They did a tamper
due to tampering, not because of the investigation into extremely racist activity.
That's right.
Just because they were talking to Tom Brady about trying to get him over to the team.
Well, they did some pretty heavy tampering, to be fair. Like that,
they did.
Wasn't your standard run-of-the-mill tampering. That was
part of it. Was come over to our team and we'll give you part of the team, at like give you shares of the team. That's fucking crazy.
Well, oh my God, I forgot. Yeah, this is why Tom Brady like retired for 3 weeks last year, because he was planning like a how do I play for the Dolphins without fucking up the money I already have coming from the not the Bengals, from
the Buccaneers.
Thank you. Without fucking up the money from the Buccaneers, and also making my shares of the Dolphins explode in the process. Fuck.
The moon.
Is that why he is retired this year, and in that really weird matter of the fact way? Because he's like, I might have consequences to face if I don't get out of here now.
Well, I mean, the reason he came back was, one of the reasons he came back was because that shit was going down, and then he kind of was like forced into like not unretire or like into unretiring. Because the league then knew that he was considered, like, the league knew he was going to play that year. Right. And if he went, never mind, I'm not going to the Dolphins, never mind, then it would have been more obvious. But yeah, it was dumb.
Wait, so does that mean that one less player gets drafted?
Yeah.
Like total?
Yeah.
I
mean, there's
I know
comp picks and shit like that.
Right,
Like,
right.
there's
Like,
more
it always
comp,
varies.
there's always the same amount of comp picks though.
Oh, is there? I didn't know
I mean,
that.
like, well, I mean, there are more now than there were before because now you can get comp picks by having a member of your staff that's a person of color get promoted by another team. So, like, if your offensive coordinator is black and he becomes the head coach of another team, you get a third round comp pick for that.
I didn't realize. Only if
That,
he's
that
black or if it's
if he's a
just.
person of color.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Really?
So
Wow,
the
NFL.
yeah,
That's
I mean,
that's a
that's new.
rule.
That's new. The last 2
Holy
years.
shit.
That's new. The last 2 years. That
I
was
feel like, but couldn't you just have that for any coach that got poached? Wouldn't that make more
the
sense?
reason was because they were facing so much scrutiny over the Rooney Rule not working, and because at one point there was one black head coach in the NFL that they said they were doing it to try to incentivize a lack of racism, more or less.
It does seem like it varies, by the way. Like
Mm.
the last 4 years have had 254 picks, 255 picks,
Okay.
No.
200 and God, how
So
much was this? This was a
maybe
lot.
maybe the super
259.
weird formula that they use for comp picks does vary.
Yeah. 262 last year. There was a fuck ton. So
Yeah, like so the 49ers got a third round pick because Robert Saleh is now the head coach of the Jets.
but I still think that like you should get comp picks for any coach that gets poached. Like that would make more sense to me.
Yeah. But again, like they were doing that as like I can get it. They were facing
Maybe
a
make
lot
it
of
more
yeah,
comp. Like you get instead of a fourth, you get a third because
it's
they're a person of color.
always a third. It's
I know,
always
but
a
that's what
third.
I'm saying. Like if
Yeah.
you have a white coach that gets poached, you get a fourth
Oh.
round. Like I feel like a coach, like a coordinator, like getting poached and moving to head coach, that's a huge blow to a team. I'd argue that's as big, if not bigger, than a like player getting signed away in free agency. Like, I don't know. That could be huge. That made all the difference for the Bills I maintained this year. Like Brian Daboll leaving, that was huge for them. They went from unstoppable juggernaut to like solid offense. So we'll see.
Anyway, I hope you all enjoy that sports conversation because we are in one of the weird stretches of the year where interesting sports stuff is really not happening. It's now and in August.
Bucks.
Yeah, Bucks just
NBA.
lost their 16 game winning streak.
Yeah, that kind of sucked in horrific fashion. We were up 18 in the fourth quarter and then lost.
No injuries, so I don't give a shit. Horrific fashion, as long as if everyone's healthy at the end of the day, not that horrific to me.
I guess.
In a regular season game, whatever.
A
loss is a loss. We'll be fine.
Listen, I'm there. I'm day one, April 15th, NBA playoff start. I'm repping my boys. Bucks die hard. Call me a fair weather fan. I probably am one. I just don't got it in me. I just don't got it in me to give a shit about regular season basketball.
Regular season, any sport, really, that's not the NFL. Like,
yeah,
the NFL it's so compact that it's almost impossible not to care. But any other sport, it's too much, man. You can't keep up. But yeah, I'll catch like a big game here or there. But yeah, I can't possibly watch every night.
That being at an airport, in like a mechanic lobby, any situation that like I just have to exist here for like 20 minutes to an hour and a half. Regular season basketball, perfect for that. Like a thing I'm choosing to put on in my leisure time, it couldn't be me. I'm sorry.
I don't know. I like watching. I mean, I certainly don't watch every game. There's so much. But like I do really enjoy putting on like a good Bucks game because, either I'm watching intently because shit's going off, like the fucking rails and I can yell and scream, or I'm like on my phone or like doing something else and looking up occasionally and watching the game for a couple minutes and going back to doing something else. It's fun.
That's fair.
It's a good sport. Like basketball is
It
one of
is.
those. It's like the excitement per minute is so high.
Speaking of a good sport, how far do we think the Badgers are going to get in March Madness this year? Which is to
Making
say,
the fucking tournament.
Yeah,
we
dude.
didn't.
Where have
no!
you been? We're gonna
Yeah.
miss it by we might not make the NIT.
Oh,
dude.
We've been horrendous.
Yeah, like we started off the season pretty strong, and then I'm very proud of myself. I said I wasn't going to watch a single game of Badgers basketball this season, and I haven't.
contradictory to what you just said, but okay.
We lost so many games in a row, and like every single game is the same. It's like, yeah, the Badgers went like 10 minutes without scoring a fucking basket. Like that happens a lot. Like they are awful this year.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
it does not make any sense, but it is a thing.
Our record is better than we are because we've eked out a couple of like, one score games.
I think we were like ranked 10th in the country. At
We
one
were,
point.
yeah. Like a month or two into the season, we were ranked really high, and now we are like an abomination.
Yep.
All right, so I guess that's why I'm not going to give a shit about March Madness this year outside of my work bracket. Speaking of weird shit, speaking of horrendous shit, Corridor Digital, remember them, gang? Remember them from our youths? They used an AI filter to make an anime. People are rightfully dragging it.
I've actually seen this. This has pierced my bubble.
I have
social
also
media,
seen it.
So, well, of course you've seen this.
Well, is it an anime show, or I thought it was just like a short, like a sketch?
Yeah, it's a sketch.
Yeah.
But
So like they made a YouTube video.
Yeah.
I don't think they should catch a whole lot of flack for making a YouTube video.
I don't know if
Andrew,
you
it's
saw
real
it.
bad.
Oh, is it really bad?
Well, like their whole purpose of the video is like, hey man, you remember how like it used to be really hard to make movies because you had to buy all this expensive film and have all this expensive equipment. Now you just have an iPhone. Like that's them, but with anime. Like they're like, hey man, remember when it was so hard to make anime? You had to have years of training and all this fancy tech stuff. Now you just need an iPhone and AI, and you can make anime.
Oh, like they made a point of saying like, yeah, anime creators are a thing of the past. Just
Explicitly.
not
use
necessarily.
AI.
Did they say that explicit? I don't remember that explicitly, but they're definitely implying that like, wow, this is amazing. Now anyone can just make anime. It's so easy.
Oh, but
and it's
their
like,
video
never
is really
mind.
bad.
It doesn't. It looks okay. I mean, it's clearly like you'd have to clean it up to make it actually like passable. But the point of the video is that they leave it raw and like this is what it actually exported. But no, like they were using professional costumed actors on a green screen, like perfectly lit and like using all their fancy camera equipment to film.
I'm gonna look
and
it
it
up.
still didn't look good. It looked fine.
Opening line of the description: anyone, all caps, can make a cartoon with this groundbreaking technique.
Oh, it does look weird.
Yeah, no, like it's not like you would have to hire professional artists to clean it up and make it actually look good.
Because they filmed a video and then they used like an AI filter to make it look like it was drawn, right?
Exactly. It's rotoscoping, but with AI.
Okay.
That is
exactly
what it is.
It's cool. It's a cool thing that you can do.
You could not do this.
Oh.
You, Andrew, could not do this.
No. I'm not saying that like the common man. I'm just saying it's a fun little thing that they did, but like making a big deal out of it is weird.
They spent probably thousands of dollars to make this, and they're all professional visual effects artists.
I'm not saying that like none of this being cool is because it's like a thing that anyone could do or that it was easy. I'm just saying, oh yeah, they made a video and they put a scanner darkly over top of it.
Andrew,
but even that would have been better. Like paying artists to professionally rotoscope, because that is an animation technique that really happens, but they were like, no, it's AI. It's anyone
Yeah.
can do this shit. And it's like, nah,
No,
no.
I'm agreeing with you. I'm just saying this
Mm.
would have been kind of a fun thing if they didn't like make that the point of what they were doing.
And like this isn't even getting into the writing and the performances in this video, which, Andrew, if you listen to any
I'm not going
45-second
to.
clip of dialogue,
I'm not going to watch
you
this
wouldn't
shit.
be calling this shit cool. It is. I have no way of confirming this, but I very much believe that Stable Diffusion or one of the AI companies paid Corridor Digital
I
to make
agree.
this, and then a writer's room that either does not know or actively hates anime had to write a 7-minute anime sketch. And it
Had
is
7 minutes. Why?
oh,
We could have made this like
it's
30 seconds.
Do you guys
Um,
remember the SpongeBob anime?
yeah.
You remember how
No.
fucking amazing that was? Like, Andrew, you should watch it. Like, it is the amount of care and dedication put into that art is unbelievable. Like, and it's really genuinely good. That could have been this, and no, yeah, it's so obviously like a shill for Stable Diffusion. Like, there's no fucking shot that they aren't being paid like to make this. Like, it's just, I don't know. It's lame in every sense of the word. Also, apparently they ripped off Castlevania for the backgrounds.
Yeah.
Like, they just straight up took stills from Castlevania and
Ooh.
used them as their backgrounds.
Ooh.
I don't know, man. Like, everything about this is fucking lame as shit. Like, it's just,
Ooh.
it's bad.
Okay.
So.
I'm on your side now.
AI is not there yet. Everyone wants to push AI as though it's like there, which is weird because it's like the opposite of the internet's adoption curve. Is like everyone was kind of like shitting on the internet and being like, haha, what a weird little stupid thing for nerds. Like, no, that'll never be big. And now like we get AI and it's like, holy shit, this is the next big thing. Everyone fucking hop on board. Like, let's do it. And all the normies are like, whoa, this is crazy. And it's like so the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if that means it's all going to just like crash and burn because it's so like, I don't know. It's being hyped up as here. It's being hyped up as like, AI's here, motherfuckers. Our lives are about to change. And it's like, it's not ready, man. It's not there yet.
Weird story. I had to explain what Chat GPT was in a work meeting a couple days ago. As someone who I've never used it. I've never used any of these AI programs. I think both of you have.
Yeah, absolutely.
If I remember correctly. Ryan, I remember you saying you used it. Lucas, have you used Chat GPT?
If I have, I do not recall.
Okay. But like, yeah, I had to explain to a couple of my coworkers what it was in the meeting because we found out that a hospital system that we work with is just using Chat GPT to find all of their business goals for 2023. And they're like, what does that mean? Like, what is that? I'm like, okay, here's what Chat GPT is. So that means that they just put in, hey, Chat GPT, what should we do this year? And they're like, well, what do you do? And like, oh, we run a hospital. And like, oh, okay. So like, where are you doing right now? I'm like, well, we're at this. Like, okay, maybe try an increase of this. And they're like, okay. And they put it down. That's weird.
That's like tip of the iceberg, man. There's media outlets that are having to shut down submissions because they're getting so many scam submissions from people just using ChatGPT to write articles and stories and everything and just submitting them verbatim because like it's like cast a wide net. If you can get one outlet to publish you and pay you a couple $100, you're set. Like you're good for the day. Yeah, like you don't have to work anymore. So they're just submitting thousands and thousands of, just fucking bullshit AI generated stuff. And all these outlets are like, we just can't take submissions anymore. Like this is all bullshit.
And that's not even getting into all of the digital outlets where owners, editorial leadership are actively pursuing replacing writers with SEO calibrated text gen software.
It's coming. Really, like I'm of the mind that like this could very well be the beginning of that. Like, and it's unavoidable when it does happen. Like, we're going to pretend that like unions can stop it and all, but like, let's be honest, it's not going to, like, this will be the end if it actually hits that point. It's not there yet. Like, it's just not. Like, you can read the shit that's generated and it's good, but you can tell, like, it's not, it's just not right yet.
It's
Like,
good for a machine. Like, machine.
It's unbelievable for a machine. It's good in like an uncanny valley, like, wait, that doesn't quite work there. Like, oh, that take kind of came out of nowhere. And it's so confident about everything that it says because that's how humans talk. We don't talk kind of like, well, I mean, according to this thing, it could be this. According to this, it could be this. It just takes whatever it thinks and is 100% full confidence that is truth. And like at the end of the day, people forget that ChatGPT is a beta. Like what we are currently operating on isn't a live program. It is a closed 2021 version of the software that we are all beta testing and making better. And yeah, full release would be taking into account the millions and millions of users that are inputting more and more stuff into it. Like, yeah. I'm just saying I'm just saying it's not there yet. I think that there's a very good chance that it's going to get there, and then there's going to be a hell of a reckoning. But like, yeah, people are treating it like it is there right now, and it's like, it reminds me of Tesla and the self-driving cars. Like, you should not be treating Tesla as though it has solved autonomous driving, because it's not there yet, man. I think it could be there, and I think it could be there in the somewhat near future. It's not there, fam. It's not there.
I had two thoughts over the course of that. The first one is that I wonder if, like, I've written enough on the internet and consistently enough that ChatGPT could copy me. No,
not you specifically.
Okay. Not me.
Okay. You need millions and millions of words and pages.
Yeah, like, that's fair.
It is synthesizing an impossible amount of information. Like, what was it? Petabytes of information. Like,
what?
Gigabyte, terabyte.
What is
petabyte.
that? What is that?
You know, a terabyte.
Petabytes. FBI.
A child. I mean, you know, a terabyte, and that's 1,024 gigabytes. A petabyte is 1,024 terabytes. It's a lot of info, fam. It's probably doing even maybe the next step up from that in level of data that it's synthesizing.
How many bits is a byte?
1,024, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. 1,024 bits in a byte, then 1,024 megabytes or 1,024 bytes in a megabyte, 1,024 megabytes in a gigabyte. 1,024, yeah, blah, 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 blah. On and
What's
on.
after petabyte?
I think it's PETA. PETA.
There's a petabyte?
Yeah.
There's a weird animal rights bite?
There's a good but not great kind of bread bite.
There's a Hunger Games character bite?
Oh, it's a Zeta bite.
Yeah.
There you go.
The drug cartels.
I don't know. The one kind of half condolence I do have to give to some of this AI technology is that there is some interesting stuff happening in pornography around AI right now, which if other technological adaptations,
I'd be remiss to not bring up
the pornography
angle of it all.
There's some ethically dubious stuff happening.
Dubious?
You mean bad?
Ethically
the word you're
wrong
is bad. It's not ethically dubious. It's bad.
What is the Nazis were doing some ethically dubious things.
I see ads on the internet, not like shit that you have to seek out, just things that pop up and they're like, hey, here's a pornography video. What if you put the Facebook profile of someone you like on this person's face and then they show them getting fucked? And that's not a thing you should be allowed to do.
That's not what I'm referring to. I'm not referring to any of that deep fake shit that Twitch streamer.
Yeah, no, Lucas is talking about AI generated stuff.
Yeah.
You can just make
like animated, like CGI.
Oh yeah, CGI. But yeah, no, like just photorealistic human beings created by AI.
Nah.
Yeah.
Although honestly, that group, a lot of them are anime women doing anything, and then people give them money for that.
A lot of them aren't anime women.
Nah.
A lot of them are real, not necessarily women, because you know where this is going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking anything.
Or a very specific thing that'll get you thrown in prison.
FBI, open up!
Yep. Nah, man, shit's fucked. We're all fucked. AI's like, again, I don't want to be a Luddite because it's
Right.
inevitable. I am not trying to be that old man shakes fist at cloud thing, because like there is nothing anyone's going to be able to do to stop it. Like the adoption of this technology, it's so funny because this could literally be that thing that everyone kind of like passively pushed off, where like, oh, what happens if half of the population isn't unemployed, is unemployable, because like there's just straight up not enough jobs to
There's
be done
nothing to do
because
Yeah.
AI has completely overtaken. Like, if that shit happens in the next 10 years, Andrew Yang is going to look like such a fucking genius, and it's going to be infuriating.
I'm gonna kill myself.
He's the only fucking major candidate that was like, we need to address the fact that like all of these jobs are going to be gone. It's not that like, oh, we're going to have unemployment. It's going to be like the Great Depression. It's like, no, these jobs don't exist anymore. We don't need people to do them. We need to establish some form of universal basic income, or everyone's just going to kind of like starve to death. Like, when we need a plan here.
That's already kind of happening. Like AI technology to review images on websites, like user-generated content. Like that's pretty far along already. And granted, those are jobs that are largely outsourced to third world countries. But no, those are jobs
we
that are
don't
just
care
going to
about
stop
those people.
existing. And like
Yeah,
those
those jobs were all outsourced, like every single one. I remember reading articles about like Facebook and Facebook's height, you know, back when we were in like high school. And it's just like, oh, what it's like to work in a Filipino fucking, yeah, like
Facebook factory.
watching
Yeah.
all of the horrifying shit that got reported and seeing whether or not it violates their terms of service. Like, I don't know. That's just the beginning, you know?
Yeah.
Like every job that can be done on a computer could be automated, basically. So unless you're a fucking mechanic,
And
like,
even
and
then,
even then,
like-
they're
well,
yeah.
eventually, but that's
You're talking
not
about robots.
that's not the
Yeah.
next fucking 10 years. Like, you've seen
Yeah.
Boston Dynamics. Like,
No,
they're
that-
cool. They do
that's
backflips and
the
shit,
thing.
but
I never expected that artificial intelligence as a technology would advance faster than the mechanic dexterity of robots. Like we have AIs right now that could fix a car, but it doesn't have the I don't know, the digits mechanically to do the things it needs to do. That's crazy to me. I thought robotic technology would be so far ahead of AI at this point.
we have AI. Like, AI is still so fucking narrow. It's not general in any sense of the word. Like, we have AI that could tell you how to fix a car. We don't have AI that could, if given like human dexterity, could just fucking open the hood of a 2005 Toyota Camry and start unscrewing shit. And like, no, like we're not there. It's not general enough, you know, like it can't properly understand its own instructions. It's just like synthesizing because it knows the next word that would come after that based on all of this data that it's been input into. So
although
it's weird. It's impossible to think about, really.
the dimension there that's becoming increasingly complicated with mechanic shops. A lot of car manufacturers are trying to make the parts in their cars so
OEM,
proprietary.
baby. Woo!
And the software the cars are running so locked away that they're essentially trying to make like non-dealership affiliated mechanics not a thing anymore.
Yeah, Apple's the one that started this trend. Like, weirdly enough, it's literally Apple that started this, because before that, cell phones were the same way. Take your cell phone into a general cell phone repair shop, and they will fix it for you. And then Apple came along and was like, we're fucking screwing this shit shut and you can't open it. And if you do, there goes your warranty. There goes everything. Like,
We'll sue your ass.
Yeah, completely fuck you. And what's his name? Is it Lewis something? That YouTube guy who like talks about how easy it is to fix iPhones. It's just you're not allowed to. Has literally gone to like the US Supreme Court to testify about like how this doesn't stop with Apple. This doesn't stop with smartphones. You need to start looking at anything technology related can be like put under this OEM restricted nature where anything that you do like that they don't approve of will instantly void your warranty and completely fuck over consumers. And the Supreme Court's like, all right, sounds good. Let's let it go. No big deal. So I don't know. I got to find this guy's name because he was all up in this where he was like, guys, I know you're thinking like, oh, well, just don't get an iPhone. But like, this is really dangerous what they're messing with right now.
Speaking of no big deal,
Louis Rossman. Sorry, that's his name. Real quick.
Okay.
Louis
Good
Rossman.
shout out.
Really cool guy on YouTube. You can still watch him.
Speaking of no big deal, the Crunchyroll Anime Awards happened. Cyberpunk won Anime of the Year.
Watch it.
I don't like watching commercials, Andrew. I'm sorry.
The game already came out. It's not selling anymore. It's not a commercial. It's just a IP.
Mm-hmm.
The Witcher Netflix show is not a commercial for the Witcher game.
I'm pretty sure some Steam data, some sales data would beg to differ, but okay.
This is another thing that pierced my Twitter bubble, and I was like, oh damn. Lucas is gonna have something to say.
I don't know. This God, the Crunchyroll Anime Awards are weird in that I don't think any of the winners, I don't think any of the nomination process was as interesting as kind of the flagging that the decisions made around the Anime Awards by Crunchyroll leadership indicate for the future of the company. For instance, like this year, the Crunchyroll Anime Awards were held in Japan and aired in like Japanese prime time, which is to say like 3 a.m. in like Los Angeles. So it really seemed like Crunchyroll was undercutting a huge part of their market base, of their viewer base, simply
it's a Japanese medium. Why wouldn't it air in Japan? Yeah, I get that a bunch of Americans watch the shows, but it's made by Japanese people. Why it's made in Japan? Like, why wouldn't these shows have their awards in Japan? Wouldn't it be weirder if Japanese anime awards were held in like fucking New York City?
Andrew, Crunchyroll is a middleman. They are a media licensor. They're a U.S. company.
Yeah, I'm talking about the shows that they release. Like, those shows are made in Japan.
Is the Crunchyroll Awards the main anime awards? Like, are those the biggest awards in the anime industry or no?
Biggest in the sense that they are kind of the only outside of like
then platforms. I agree with Andrew.
Yeah. Like, what
if they were
fuck?
Like, if it was like these are the Crunchyroll Awards, but there's also like the Anime Awards, and those are kind of bigger, then fair. But like, if this is it, then yeah, it should be where the media originates, I would say.
Oh, you mean like does Japan have any version of like?
No, not Japan. Like, does the world have like the fucking Oscars? I know they're not perfect, but like they're getting better at including more and more foreign films, like in Best Picture races and stuff like that. So like the Oscars are now kind of the world's movie awards. They're the biggest ones, but like the majority of them still come from the United States, so it should take place in the United States. Like, yeah, for anime, if this is the biggest anime awards for the industry, then I think it would make sense for it to come from Japan or to be air in Japan, where most of the anime is made.
I mean, there are other events like Tokyo Anime Awards. Like the Japanese animation industry does have like their own internal ways to acknowledge that talent.
Okay.
I don't know. I see
But
that. I see this move as like Crunchyroll execs being cozying up to business partners rather than,
the
hey,
people
let's
that
do
make
this
the
at a
things
time
that
and
they
in a way
use.
that is actually beneficial, that is actually like that is actually for the people paying our subscription costs, the people,
do
our
people
customers.
do people in Japan have access to Crunchyroll?
Why would they?
What do you mean? Why would they?
Because
Like
it's on TV there. It's
a
on
streaming service. Lots of shows are on TV in America. I don't have a fucking cable subscription. If the Netflix awards happened, like I don't know, like those would still be like shows that I would watch.
It's my understanding that Crunchyroll is a much smaller streaming service in Japan because a lot of those licensing rights, a lot of ways to digitally view that media in Japan are through local subsidiaries rather than like the international Crunchyroll platform.
So I will say, if you're telling us that like the vast majority of Crunchyroll's user base is from the United States, I understand how some people would be like, well, why isn't this for us? But like you gotta acknowledge that like these are Japanese shows made in Japanese by Japanese people. Like it doesn't make, I mean, I think you gotta acknowledge it. It makes sense that it would be in Japan. Maybe you could say it would also make sense to be in America, but you can't be like it doesn't make sense that it's in Japan.
I'm trying to find out if the United States has more anime fans than Japan, like just because we have so many more people, you
Right.
know. And these articles are horrific. Like they don't tell me how this line makes sense. Between 90 and 100 million people from all over the world watch anime. Estimations dictate that somewhere between 40 and 60% of the global population watch anime content. That's a lot more than
Yeah.
That's 4
million.
billion people.
Yeah, and also bullshit. I don't believe that. 40% of the global population watches anime? Not true. I don't
Maybe
believe that in the
40% of
slightest.
the global population has heard of anime.
Yeah, like literally has heard of. Like we're just you can wipe entire continents off of like anime fandom. There's no fucking shot that 40% watches anime. I just don't believe it. And now they're saying in the United States, approximately 72% of people watch anime regularly.
Not true.
What?
Not true at all.
Like what? What percentage of the population is baby boomers? Like 40%? Like no,
I think
they
y'all need to
don't
step
watch
outside
that
of your
shit.
bubbles on this one, actually. You know?
Wait, what was that?
I think y'all need to step outside of your bubbles on this one, actually.
Yeah, that's what it really is.
Yeah.
It's fucking disgusting.
And then another odd thing about the Crunchyroll Anime Awards that I took personal umbrage with was that a big part of their media campaign, a big part of people talking about Crunchyroll people talking about the award show is that they want to acknowledge like the work, the talent, the teams behind these shows, behind this anime. Like their listings, their like vote on these nominees. It didn't even include information like who the director of the anime you were voting on was. That information was still obtusified in a way that is kind of talking out of both sides of their mouth.
Probably should do that.
Yeah. I thought so.
Crunchyroll. Is director the most important role? Is it like the same as like the director of an American movie where it's like that's like the executor, you know, like the biggest person? Like what is the big role in anime? Because like in the US, like for TV, it's usually more like creator or you know, like some type of like showrunner. There's like another title. I don't know.
I believe it is director. I think that like studio executives I think have a little more direct oversight on anime projects than like Western shows, but yeah, I think the position is director. That they're the end all be all, more or less.
So, but like, what does that even look like? Like, because for example, the showrunner in the United States is usually a writer, you know, like of some sort. They're a writer because TV is so much more focused on writing, because you have to constantly keep making new stories like over and over and over.
Right.
So like the director is in charge of the animation, or like what does that even mean, I guess, in anime?
I think they're giving final approval on like every element of it. I don't think they are directly sitting in on writers' meetings. That might change for the project since a lot of anime is adapted from other media, so that writing process could be more expedited potentially. But I believe, yeah, like rough cuts, storyboards. I think directors are looking through and approving all of that and potentially giving notes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Japan.
Yeah, that was the Crunchyroll Anime Awards. I don't. Yeah.
Lucas does not subscribe, except for you probably do, I'm guessing.
I expense it. I don't pay for it. I have a subscription, but I expense it.
Someone
Kind of
pays
the
for
opposite
you
of
to
boycotting.
watch.
Yeah.
You're giving money, even though you're not giving money.
Anyway, yeah, on the Fandom Anime live stream that I do, the top of the year, I ranked the best anime of 2022, and that is the only correct list and acknowledgement of what is actually good.
I
From
was
last
part
year.
of that.
Yeah, you were in that stream.
Yeah, I got a couple shows in there.
Yeah.
I did it. Those are my shows. I upset Lucas really bad. Andrew, you weren't there. I can tell because I put in Akiba Maid War, and Lucas is like, maybe we don't talk about that yet because that's my number one. And then she was like, yeah, let's talk about it. And then you could tell Lucas was not planning on that being the way that the show would go.
All right, guess this is just going to be at number one for the next 45 minutes.
Yep. It's the only anime that I knew that came out that year at that time.
What was this on?
On Twitch.
The
on
Fandom Twitch
channel.
on
Twitch. Okay.
Yeah.
Just
threw out Akiba Maid War because he tried to get it in our top 10s. And I was like, I know Lucas loves this one. I'll help him out. And then he was like, maybe we don't talk about that yet.
Yeah.
I was like,
I accidentally violated the Twitch terms of service when I commented on your stream.
Did you dox yourself? What happened?
No. Lucas was like, I asked a question, I can't even remember what it was. Because they had just thrown off a one-liner about like vigilante woodsman, and I said that sounds like a great name for an anime. You should pitch that. And then Lucas brought up something called Axe Cop, and I said all Axe Cops are bastards. And then I got like a notification that they were like reviewing what I had said.
I approved it. I ended up approving it.
Oh, okay.
Cab. You got a couple of C's in there.
Yeah. I got notes back. I finally got notes back on my first draft of that Akiba Maid War socialism piece. So look out for that one, world. Speaking of shows, we should head into The Last of Us discussion, I think. Episode 7 was fine to me personally.
Okay. It just didn't... They told a story in episode 3 that was like this standalone romance story between sexual minorities, and it was like,
let's do it again.
It's gonna be hard to top that one. Like, you really fucking knocked it out of the park, primarily because you weren't anchored by this source material. You were able to just kind of tell a really good story, and this was, more or less shot for shot from the game. And boy, there's just a lot of wonders, huh? Like just so many wonders. Those escalators could have easily been one of the wonders. Didn't have to. They just kept fucking coming. It was like, damn, we're really gonna keep doing random shit. Like
I felt like the purpose of that episode was more like, instead of telling the story, it was like, how do we get like the amount of emotional experiences from these characters as possible? Because Riley's only going to be in this one episode. How do we make her a memorable character? And like, well, what if we have all these individual wonders, so it feels like these are individual stories, but it's like it's just the same emotion that you're hitting 5 times.
It's just them going someplace being like, holy shit, isn't it crazy how they used to live? And then interacting with it and being like, wow, look at how innocent they are. I think that it was more well done in the DLC.
Right.
This is maybe the first time that I've said that, where I think that
The game,
the game did it better. Like it's kind of rare, but I think that might be the first time in this show that that's happened.
It hits so much. I don't know. It's a lot more immediate when like you are controlling Ellie on this date, more or less, and feels like less. I don't know. Maybe this is too extreme, but less skeezy or voyeuristic under those circumstances too. When like you are so much closer to Ellie, you are literally like in her shoes, controlling her on this date along with her, and like I don't know, in the show, especially just knowing like where it was going to go, and I don't think like I think people who didn't even play the game could have guessed that. It's just like I don't know. It felt a lot more like Ellie is less a character in this episode and more like this is what a writer's room full of 30 and 40 somethings imagining who they want their daughter to be is like that's what they're turning Ellie into here. Maybe that's mean, maybe that's poorly thought out of me, but like that was my reaction to this. Like we get it. Cool. You're into Mortal Kombat 2. Great. I don't buy that you know those combos immediately, but
they talk about it because they have her have like video game magazines and shit like that. Like the idea is that they've been reading about this game for years, and all of a sudden,
and now they finally get
a chance to play it, and they never thought they would, and so they're like going for the combos and shit like that. But like there's no fucking shot that any of those arcade machines work after 20 years of complete disuse and no repair. Like.
Or fuck the arcade machines, the escalators. Those things would be rusted shut. Like
I don't know, man.
They're
protected enough from the elements.
Funnily enough, I did go to a mall today, and we took an escalator up to another floor of the mall, like in the store. It was a J.C. Penney's, and when we got there, there was a guy's like, "Yeah, you got to take the elevator if you want to go back down." Like, what do you mean if we want to go back down? Of course we want to go back down. Like there's no way out of the top floor.
Just walk out the window.
Because the down escalator was gone. Not shut off. It was missing.
Oh.
Like the stairs were gone. It was just a chasm.
Is there no stairs either? Like regular stairs?
We found them, but they were like they had propped the door open because it was an emergency exit.
Yeah.
Like behind what used to be like a customer service counter. Like in a different part of the mall. So it going up the escalator was a mistake.
I remember that about Wisconsin, and the Mitch Hedberg joke like rang true. The whole like escalators are never broken; they just become stairs.
Yeah.
You know, like in Wisconsin, they used to you could walk on escalators that weren't running. Here in California, they rope them off. I don't know if that's your experience, Lucas, but every escalator that I've seen that isn't actively running, they like block. They're like, don't take this. I don't know why that is. I don't know if it's because escalators are fucking sketchy as shit. I know the inventor doesn't take them. The guy who invented escalators didn't ride on them. Like, I don't know, man. I think there might be some shit going on with escalators that the man is preventing us from seeing.
This goes all the way to the top. You have to take an escalator to get there, but it goes all the way to the top.
Is it one of those things where it's like just a lawsuit magnet, a broken escalator? Because you could argue, I could see somebody making the argument like, well, I was walking on a not moving escalator, which means it was broken and malfunctioning, and I injured myself, and that wouldn't have happened if it were an escalator instead of a set of stairs.
But if anything, I would guess that Wisconsin would be a more litigious state than California, to be honest with you. So I don't know. Like, that's where I grew up is like, you just walk up escalators even when they're broken. It's fine.
Yeah, fair.
I don't know. That tale might be completely apocryphal, the whole that they don't take them. Because it's like there's been multiple inventors. There's a guy named fucking Jesse Reno.
John Escalator.
There's a guy named Jesse Reno. And then the one that we think of as an escalator is Charles Seaberger, who then sold it to Otis, which we all know. So I don't know, man. I don't know where that story comes from. But no, I don't know, man. Escalator's sketch. I don't trust him.
Do you trust Facebook?
No.
What? Is that even a
And
question?
no one should.
And that is definitely what I learned. One of the many themes and ideas I took away from rewatching the movie The Social Network.
It's subtle, but one of the themes is that Facebook bad. It's in the subtext. You got to kind of dig for it, but
It is.
that's one of the deep metaphorical thematic elements that you might see recurring throughout the narrative if you pay close attention.
It is just wild how like incredibly well and incredibly poorly this movie has aged simultaneously.
I want to hear how it aged poorly. Like I want to hear some takes. I haven't seen it in a few years.
Everyone in this movie is talking about like, oh my god, Facebook is such cool shit. Like this is where the youths are, man. This is punk
It
rock.
was where the
It
youths
was when
were.
it was made.
right.
Yeah. TikTok wasn't around at that point when they made the movie, or
This
even
is-
when the movie took place. Like,
It's not so much that it aged poorly; it's that Facebook aged poorly.
Right, this is a
the
movie about-
itself. Yeah,
This is a movie about a website that doesn't exist anymore.
it is not a movie about a website. It is a movie about a man.
a lizard.
The name is The Social Network, Andrew. It's a little bit about the website.
I mean, you could argue even that the title has a double meaning, that the other network is like the network of people that made Facebook and their relationship. I don't know. I saw the same movie you did.
Andrew's digging deep now. I don't know anymore.
But like it's a movie about like the greed of man and like Zuckerberg being a piece of shit even back in the day before his billions corrupted him further.
Yeah,
Right.
Zuckerberg is a piece of shit. It leans heavily on the corruptible humans seek power versus the power corrupts absolutely side of the spectrum. Like the people that get into power are the people that don't deserve it. Like that's what that movie is saying. I don't what else aged poorly? Is there anything else, or is it just that? Because I would be kind of bummed if it's also like got weird shitty takes on some moments, because I feel like he's never really
Right.
very sympathetic. Like Andrew said, from the jump he's kind of a piece of shit, so you don't really get that angle where it's like, oh boy, but he sure is trying his best. Like
well, one thing that has aged poorly is that Armie Hammer plays the Winklevosses.
he plays both of them.
Yes.
I forgot about
I knew that. You didn't know that? That's not the movie aging poorly. You can't blame the movie for things that happened outside of the
Also,
movie.
I'd
aging
argue
poorly.
that's perfect casting.
That-
You have a fucking actual cannibal like
Well,
playing two
they're not.
psychos.
the Winklevosses are not that bad.
The
They're
Winklevosses
not.
are huge alt-writers that are talking
Oh,
about
are
like
they
a
now?
new world
Oh.
order shit. Yeah.
Did the Winklevosses go Q? Oh,
Yes.
no.
Yes. That's
That's
their
a
whole
shame.
thing now.
But they're
The
like,
Winklevosses were always awful.
well, yeah, we knew they were awful. but
Right.
Before
weren't,
they
like-
became as bad as they are now, they were like super rich, like trust fund babies. That was the best they ever were.
They were yes, the movie makes it absolutely clear that they're daddy's money's pieces of shit, but not. It makes them sympathetic by the end, you know.
Well, and what they are now happened after that. Like part of that could like a lot of people are like thinking that a lot of what they're doing now was because they were trying to compensate for their perceived loss of fame and fortune from Facebook, which, you know, was kind of rightfully theirs.
Wait, so where are they Q?
I don't know. I see them on Twitter a lot.
Where are they alt-right?
Were you following that you're getting promo tweets from?
I
the
know.
Winklevosses?
I don't follow them. I follow a lot of people that like comment on that kind of stuff.
Oh, the reply guys. Yeah, I love
Yeah.
them. So what? Like if I go to their Twitter, he'll have like really shitty things that will be immediately apparent. I know that they're big into like crypto, but like
Right.
They're also
They've
big,
also-
they're also like super anti-COVID, like anti-vax, that kind of stuff.
they've made like billions on crypto, so it's kind of like hard to blame them for being big on crypto. It's like, yeah, you know, it's like you can't blame Mark Cuban for being big on fucking all the shit Mark Cuban sold.
I mean,
My working thesis at the moment is the next bull run is going to start in the East. It will be a humbling reminder that crypto is a global asset class, and the West, really the US, always only ever had two options: embrace it or be left behind. It can't be stopped. Let me know. Any
The
government that
media
doesn't
and big
offer
tech
clear
and everyone
rules-
else are who continue to try to censor, silence, coerce, and shame public discourse on topics like the lab leak theory are responsible for this.
Okay. Classic.
China did it.
Yeah. That tracks. Crypto billionaires are pieces of shit. What else aged poorly, Lucas?
I think this movie invented like the libertarian guys with Asian wives trope before that existed. I forget the last name's character, but like the Andrew Garfield's character, Eduardo, he has a line. He has a line where he's fetishizing Asian women towards the beginning of the movie, and I'm like, that plays so much worse in 2023 than it did when this movie came out in 2010.
Yeah. I think that's been around for a long time. I think,
That's fair.
yeah, weird
White-
anti-tax, anti-government dudes having Asian wives is
Dude,
yeah.
the only thing that white
Classic.
guys like better than not paying taxes is having an Asian girlfriend. I mean, it's just how it goes, and no one can blame them.
Yeah. Interesting.
Those
That was
were
it.
those were the
Pretty
big
good
3
movie
points I
then, I'm gonna say.
No,
I don't know if it aged poorly.
To be clear, fantastic film. Maybe one of Fincher's best. Maybe Fincher's best. I don't know. But
It is very good.
no, I thoroughly enjoyed it.
So good.
Justin Timberlake as Sean Parker, the guy who invented Napster, is brilliant casting.
Yeah. Do you think he like understood the assignment at that point? Like, we need you to just be the piece of shit that you are, Justin Timberlake.
And I will say, Maria actually pointed this out. The entire film is shot like it's a crime movie. Like, you are uncomfortably close to Mark Zuckerberg, Jesse Eisenberg's Mark Zuckerberg, the entire time.
Probably intentional.
Yeah, no,
Damn.
no notes. Terrific.
Okay, Fincher's best. Fuck, man. I need to rewatch Social Network, I think, but like
Seven is
Mindhunter,
good.
Gone Girl, House of Cards season 1, but I guess the
forgot
later
that-
seasons tarnish it.
I forgot that Gone Girl was a Fincher movie.
Yeah, Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, Zodiac, Seven, Fight Club.
So seven.
Yeah, Joey Bednarski made that joke freshman year, and I've never
Oh, Fight
dropped
Club.
it.
There's Fight
I
Club.
still maintain Seven.
Yeah.
I mean, he probably wasn't the first to make it, but yeah.
Alien 3 was his first movie.
That's Alien to the Third Power.
I don't know, man. He did music videos. Paul Abdul, It's Just the Way That You Love Me.
I mean,
Yeah.
he was an assistant cameraman on Return of the Jedi. I come on. Come on.
That's Return of the Jedi erasure.
Mm.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like it's going to be Mindhunter for me, even if I rewatch Social Network. Andrew, I know you were into it too.
Oh, no, Mindhunter is really
That
good.
show's
I thought we were
unbelievable.
only counting movies.
He didn't do many shows.
Mm.
It's that, House of Cards, and Love, Death, and Robots, and he only did one episode of Love, Death, and Robots. So
Did I hear correctly that Mindhunter is just not continuing on?
yeah, it's done. It's
It's-
officially dead.
Oh, is it officially dead?
Yeah, Fincher
Last
killed
I
it,
heard
like,
it was
right,
just
yeah.
like,
ago.
fuck, dude. Like,
Yeah,
why?
Fincher basically said like, we're done. We're never doing anymore.
But
even though
why?
He didn't have it in him.
He's making a movie for Netflix this year.
yeah, no, I think he doesn't want to do any more Mindhunter. I think and it's just like, bro, the BTK killer. You
It was really good. Yeah, we
introduced
left
the
on a
BTK killer as a
cliffhanger.
tease for 2 seasons and then nothing.
We got a fucking cliffhanger.
Yep.
I mean, like, God, I'm gonna have to like do some mental gymnastics to be like, oh no, that's actually the correct way because like the BTK killer is a real person. We know how it ended up. We were just seeing his story of how he got there. in the
All
show.
of the stories were real people. Everyone
I
that they
know.
were chasing were real people.
I
They were the
know.
only
I'm
fake
fucking
people.
pissed off, dude. Like,
I'm like, they're the only ones that weren't real. Every other person in the story is real. The mayor of Atlanta, like everyone's real other than them.
God
I don't
damn.
know. I think it's just unfortunate. Maybe it got built up too much, and he had already had that happen with House of Cards, and he got nervous that he wouldn't be able to pull it off, and pulled the plug before he could get any negative feedback.
I think I don't know. I thought I heard something. I thought Maria might have mentioned something that he noted it was a particular draining production for him. So maybe
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
The stress of making a TV show versus a movie is just not even comparable, really. Like it's on another level in terms of like the shit that you're wrangling and how much you're shooting, and yeah.
And
the indefinite nature of it.
And not to hype up David Fincher, not that maybe that's not even possible, but especially when you get as like the perfectionist every frame of painting as he does, that how much longer is Mindhunter already than even his longest movie?
They invented a camera for that show. They invented a fucking camera for David Fincher so that he could do Mindhunter. It's like the red xenomorph or something. Like they straight up were like, he needs a lighter weight camera that can still shoot cinematic quality imagery so he can get the shots he needs for this new show he's doing. And it was like, all right, here you go. It's a new camera for you, Mr. Fincher. Like, it's fucking wild.
This one's starting to get a little long, but anything else we want to talk about, either as a group or individually? I am still working my way through Fire Emblem Engage. Having a good time there. End is in sight, though. You know, I'm grateful. I got like 45 hours into that thing. I'm starting to have my fill.
Nice.
Yeah. All right. If that's the case, then we are wrapping on episode 216 of the Voluntary Viewing podcast, which will almost certainly be called, ironically, Deuce. If you like what you heard, like, comment, subscribe, etc. Check us out on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok for highlight clips. ActBlue link in the description to help a collection of great progressive causes. If you want to support us, you can do so through the Anchor podcast platform or on our Patreon. And join the likes of the terrific Tiffany Cole, Sucky Badger, and sensual Richard Nixon. I'm Lucas DeRider. I'm on Twitter at Lucas DeRider. Keep up with that for all of my writing. Also, the other stuff I'm doing on the internet. Not fully locked in yet, but I think this Thursday I'm going to be doing a live stream. I'm going to be talking about VTubers. I don't know how that's going to go, but I'm looking forward to that, and hopefully other people are too. And also, I just did a fantastic live stream with editor-in-chief of But Why Though, Kate Sanchez, where we talk about the kind of malleable boundaries between different genres in anime and manga. So check that out on the Fandom Twitch channel as a VOD, as a highlight. But regardless, thank you all so much for checking this out. Hope you have a fantastic week. Goodbye.